All right, hi guys. We are going to start the second step for your pinch pot, your double pinch pot rattle project. Okay, but before we do that, we need to talk about the stages of clay because unfortunately, I think some of you are really like majorly confused as to where what those stages are. Okay, so slip is the stage where it's very watery. Okay, when we score our projects, the pieces of our projects, score meaning creating the scratches and adding the water, that is creating slip. That's the only time you're going to use slip when you are at home. Okay, and you do need to score and water and then blend your projects together, because if you don't, they fall apart, and well, that stinks. Okay, and then so that's step number one. Step number two is plastic. Now, plastic is where it's like really super squishy. That's at the very start of the project. I mean, it is super flexible, and it's great for creating pinch pots. Well, last video we created pinch pots. I have 3 separate pinch pots here. Okay, this one I created first, this one I created second, this one I just created just a couple seconds ago. I want you to realize, see how squishy this is? I mean, this is super squish-tacular, okay? This one is really squishy, and I've already indented it. So if you get and you're trying to work on your project and it's too soft and you indent things like this, it's really hard to fix this, okay? But if you do manage to do this, you can take your dental floss and you can come through and cut it again, okay? Cut it again, and then go back through and pinch these out. You don't want to pinch them hard, and then you go through and you re-indent that out. You gotta, do that right there. I would not recommend doing this. It's not going to be an easy fix. It's not going to be a pretty fix. It's going to be an ugly fix. So make sure you're working on your clay at the right stage, but you can put it back together. I wouldn't recommend it though. So just be careful with it. Okay. So that was your, that's what happens if you're trying to work with your project at a plastic. Plastic is not good. It's good for creating the double pinch pot, but then you got to let your pinch pot sit. So stop working with it then. Now let's say you're in a time crunch because, well, let's just say you never actually went and got your clay and you're super far behind and you need to speed this process along a little bit. Hair dryer on. I'm going to work on firming up this lovely double pinch pot right here. So I turn it on. All right, so I'm not going to sit there and mess with that the entire time. I want you to realize as I was blowing it dry, I was rotating the clay in my hand. If you sit there and dry right like that on one spot, this is going to dry and this is not going to dry and it's going to crack. So if you're going to use a hair dryer to speed things along, you have to make sure that you are maneuvering the clay around to where it is not going to dry in one spot. Okay, so this was plastic, super squishy, too squishy to work with. Okay, this right here is soft leather hard. See that? I can push it a little bit. It indents a tiny bit. We're getting to the point to where we can add stuff onto this right here. Okay, and then I've got a medium firm leather hard. Okay, this right here, it gives just a tiny bit, not a whole lot. Okay, so I'm doing 2 projects for you. One is going to be an animal and the other one is going to be a head. Okay, so I'm going to start with the head, because the head is easier. Okay, so I've got my head here, and remember in my last video I said I was going to do this person right there. Okay, so this is the person that I'm planning on doing. All right, so I'm going to set this up here. Oh, and let's talk about firm leather hard. This right here is not firm leather hard. I'm sorry, this is bone dry. See the difference in color between this and this? It's massive. This means there is no hydration left in this at all. All moisture is gone. It is not, it's no longer functional. I can't do anything with it. If I try to, it's going to break. And it's super fragile at this point, okay? It's just a little quick, real fast thing that I did. Notice right here. So you put horns on. Oh, I just broke my horn off. And that was like, I set it down just a little bit hard. Oh, I just dropped 9. Okay, see, boom, gone. You have to be super careful. I don't want you to, I mean, like if you have it done at this stage and you're fully done and you need to bring it into school, that's fine. But if you bring it in and it's firm leather hard, I'm telling you right now, you're less likely to break it. This, if you've got horns and stuff and you're trying to bring it into school like this, heaven help you. It's not going to work. It's going to break. It's going to be sad. Okay, so we've got our little head here. Now I'm using my tools for the video because, well, guess what? I need to because I'm trying to be quicker than slow. All right, so I have my bit of clay here. I sort of the bits of this are good. Okay, so I'm going to take a chunk of my clay and I'm going to roll out a coil. Okay, so I'm going to squish this to where it's a little bit better. There we go. Okay, so now it's rolling nicely. Okay, we don't want to add a slab onto the bottom because if we add a slab onto the bottom, unfortunately, it just goes terribly wrong. It's too thick. So I'm creating a neck right now. So I'm going to come through. Let's see if this will work right here for my person. That's close. Okay, so I'm going to trim this up just a tiny bit, overlap it just a smidge. I'm going to cut it. Now it's nice and even. I am going to score my little end right here and my little end right here. I'm going to put that together. Okay, so then I've got my neck. This is going to be my neck, okay? Because I'm going to put my person, maybe I need to like develop something to where it like, that would be actually really good, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm trying to get a flat end right here, trying to get kind of a flat end here, so I've got a little nicer. Okay, so I've come through here and I've scored right here, and I'm going to put my right there. Okay, so I'm going to put my little donut on there. You can actually make it to where your face sits flat. I want mine to sit upright, so it's like the neck is going to be like this and her face is going to be here and everything. Okay, so but I want to get this attached, so I'm going to create a little bit of a like that right there. Hold on, tap it just so I get a little more of the shape that I want. I'm squishing it ever so slightly. Got a little bit of a flat space here now, so I can easily attach. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to scratch the whole bottom because it's just easier to do that. Okay, so I scratch the bottom and I'm scoring it really well. If you don't score it really well, if your lines look somewhat invisible, well, they're not going to work. Okay, so I'm going to put that on there. Now I'm going to blend it, but I'm going to pause. I'm going to use to learn pause. Okay, so I've started blending. So I went through and I blended like this, and I'm bringing it all the way around. So now my neck is fully attached. I added water on there. It's going to be just fine. So I've got a little neck and I've got my head. Now I need to decide where's the back of my head. This is going to be the back and this is going to be the front in here. So I kind of want to pinch that a little bit. In a tiny bit there. Okay, I can go through and adjust the neck a tiny bit. That's the great thing. Make sure that I smooth this up in here. Okay, so now I've got that. All right, so I set her up. She seems to be working just fine. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to start adding my bits and pieces. Okay, so when you are creating a face, it's like almost like drawing. I'm going to say I do need to add some chin clay. I need to add some chin clay, but I'm going to have a mouth in this range right here. I'm going to have my nose in this range right here, and then I'm going to have my eyes in this range right here. Now, here's the thing that you need to realize with clay. Can you see that? You really can't see that. I wish I could see that better. I don't want to do it too deep. Okay, so we can see that, we can see that, and we can see that. All right, so we need to start developing the facial features. Okay, so I'm going to set her down like this. Sometimes I find it's best if you guys go through and like gently indent. Okay, so I'm going to use my fingers and I'm going to say this is where I want my eyes to be, roughly in this range right here. Okay, so I've got my eyes right there, and then I'm going to add my nose on and everything. Okay, so I've got eyes, my nose, and then my mouth. All right, so I'm going to grab some clay. Here we go. I'm going to grab some clay out of my bag. There you go. All right, so I've got clay. I'm going to just start taking bits and pieces of clay. So like right there, that could be my chin if I wanted. It's a bit excessively huge. So, but I'm going to bring it down some because I'm going to build the foundation for my face, okay? So I'm going to put my chin right here. So that's a chunk of clay right there for my chin. I find that sometimes it's best to just have my students like literally take, okay, so this is a chin right here. I like that chin because I've done this a lot. I have a good idea. Okay, so let's say I want another piece of clay because I don't know what the heck I'm doing, okay? So then I put this little chin right here and I say, ooh, maybe I like that chin better. I don't know. So you look at it and you say, which chin do I like better? Do I like the tiny chin or do I like the bigger chin? Okay, that's a you thing. You got to decide what you like, the tiny chin or the big chin. I'm going to go with the big chin because that's, you know what? Always go a little bit bigger than what you think, because if you go too small, then you just have to add more clay on. So go ahead and add more clay. All right, so I'm going to do my nose right here. So I'm taking a piece of clay, kind of squashing it out. Remember, I wanted to create this this ridge like this. So I'm going to add this chunk of clay on right here. So I kind of want it to look like that shape. So I've got this right here. I'm going to grab just it would be something equivalent to like, using a toothpick maybe. Okay. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to cut down like this, squash it up some. And remember, we don't want our clay to get too thick. If we're getting thicker than say a half of an inch, we're getting a little too thick. Okay, so I've got this right here. Do I like this right here? That might actually work, but I want to squash this part up a little bit. I want my nose to be a little more defined. I might need to add a little more clay for the brow ridge because, well, you know, it'd be good. Okay, and it's going to look something similar to this, not exact. Similar. That's all I'm asking. Similar. I don't need it to be exactly the same. Okay, so I chop that off. I'm going to come through here. I'm going to score because you have to score. The only way it works is if you score. So I'm going to come through and I'm going to score this whole area that I want to add my my pieces to. If you don't score, well, it just blows off. And it looks like, you know, bad. And that's sadness. Okay, so I've scored this whole face here. I'm going to score my chin. Ooh, I just realized my chin here. I got to score this really good because, well, there was like an indentation. And indentations cause problems, okay? So I'm adding a little bit of water on my chin. I'm not smooshing it smooth. I know some of you have issues with, you know, things not looking perfect. That's okay. I'm not looking for perfect right now. I'm just looking for attached. Okay, because it's going to look ugly to begin with, and that's normal. Okay, if it were like perfect right away, you'd be like amazing. And well, unfortunately, we're not all just amazing right now. We're still trying to figure out how we're doing things. Okay, so I've come through. I have blended my bits and pieces on. If you get cracks and stuff in your project, make sure that you smooth them up, because if you don't, well, that's just awful, because then they just grow and the next thing you know, you got a big old crack and it won't go away. All right, so I've got my nose here. I'm going to score this too. So I score right here. My brow ridge. I might need to add a little more on the brow ridge. I'm still not 100% sure this is quite big enough. Probably should have done a second one because I feel like this side right here, not quite good enough, but we'll see. All right, so we've got this right here. Did not put water on this. See, ding dong. All right, there we go. Now I've watered it, okay? And then I'm going to bring my tool. You know, the thing that separates us from animal is the fact that people use tools. So make sure you are using your tools. Get yourself a kitchen knife, get yourself your wooden tool, use your toothpicks. Those are good things to use, guys, because if you're not using them, well, then you're making your life a whole lot harder, okay? So I'm going to bring this up a little bit. And then I just come through here. I smooth it up some. Squeeze it some. Adjust it. I feel like her nose is way too short now that I look at it. Maybe it's because she doesn't have lips on yet, but I feel like her nose needs to be longer. We'll see. I'll play with it some more. Like, here's her little lips right here. Maybe she's fine. I probably will add just a smidge of clay just to extend the nose just a tiny bit because I feel like she looks a little weird. Okay, so that's where we're at with this project right here. All right, I'm gonna pause it and I'm gonna get a little bit further ahead. Okay, all right, so we've got this guy right here. I think I'm gonna do two separate videos, one for the animal and one for the person head. That's how I'm gonna do it. Okay, so we've got this right here. All right, let's say I did want to add just a smidge more on the nose because I'm quite certain that I do. I would come through, I would add a little more right here, okay? I would add a little more, scratching right here and scratching right here, oops. And then I would add water. I would add water. And then I would add my, ooh, that looks so much better already, less crazy. And I just blend it down. Yeah, I like a long nose. That little nose was a little too snub-like. Okay. All right, so that's already looking a lot better. Okay, so I've got dimension to my face now. See, I've got the brow ridge, I've got my nose, and you know, once this dries, I'm going to come back through, not dries out fully, but becomes like firm leather hard. I'm going to come back through and I'm going to adjust it even more. But for right now, this is good. Okay. And then I'm going to say, all right, I want hair on her. So I'm going to put my head right here. I need to develop some hair. Now, I also want to come through here and adjust the face just a tiny bit like that. Okay. Like I'm going to, here we go. That's looking better. So you can sit there and gently press on bits and pieces to create the shape that you're looking for. Okay. All right, so there's that. Okay, now I need hair. The hair, I'm going to use coils because, well, coils are great. I don't like typically using lots of big slabs because slabs, well, they blow up because people don't score good enough. So I've got this right here, and I'm just going to create the illusion of the hair. It's not actually going to be like real hair, but it's going to be close. Okay. So I'm going to take and I'm going to put this right here. Let's see. So I need to make two coils that are about exactly the same length. This, not length, thickness. Thickness is what we're about here. Okay. And I'll roll this out too. Okay, let's see. Yep, that's close. That's close enough. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to bring the hair, this, as we look right here, and it comes down, and I'm going to blend it back. Okay, so smooth that up. No, I'll use this side. This side's fine. Okay, so I'm going to do the hair like this. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. Okay, so I need it without this one right here. So I'm going to cut it. Okay. And I need this one the same size. So I'm going to cut, no, not like this, and that. I'm going to cut that right there. Okay. So we've got this right here and this right here, roughly. Okay. Oop, center. All right, so then I would score this on. Okay, but she's pretty soggy right now. So right now I've got this right here. Look at the back of her head. It's getting a little flat because, well, she's because I added all the extra moisture, she's getting a little dry. So this is the start for the foundation. All right, so I'm not going to carve the eyes in. I'm not going to add the mouth on. This is where I'm going to stop this video today. Okay, I am going to make sure that these get nice and dry. Not nice and dry. I take that back. She's going to dry out some. These are going to stay hydrated, and then I'm going to attach those to it. All right, so that's where we're going to end today.